So will be talking about two things which are become important to me in my life. One for the last 32 years. This is a so-called Scheffler reflectors. I'm a physicist by training, and I invented one reflector which is a parabolic reflector, which has a focal point which is not moving, so it can be used easily, the energy. And the reflector itself is not a fixed shape, but a flexible shape. So in summer, in winter, and every day in between, it has a different shape, which is a very unique design. So this I started in 1982 in Kenya. You see a picture of different kitchens. It can be used small scale for families. It can be used medium scale, like school kitchens. You see the reflector and the place where we're cooking here. We are in an Indian village. The first pictures were in Kenya. And up to now, the size has grown up to 60 square meter size. And also a huge number of smaller size reflectors for cooking in canteens. Like this installation is cooking for 20,000 people. And this is a power plant which is going to be finished like this year. It's making 1 megawatt of electric power with a heat storage, so the power is there for 24 hours. Long time I worked only as a social enterprise, not enterprise, association. Lately we also formed together with my wife, which is So, doing all this work for 30 years, some other questions cropped up in my mind, because here I'm fixing a problem which others are creating all the time, like burning fossil fuels and not doing anything about it and being unable to do anything about it. So I kept on wondering, has it to be that way? Are we really unable to come to wise decisions for our future? And it seems so, because like the climate change issue, we've blown it already. I mean, we have the climate change. We were unable to do anything about it. But does it have to be like that? So like 10 years back, I got a radio interview with a professor in Germany, and he developed actually a system by which we can actually find workable solutions. And the most important thing, we can agree on what we are going to do. Because here right now is the problem. Solutions are many, but we are unable to agree worldwide. We have these climate change conferences, and every time we only realize we cannot agree. And we cannot come to actions. So the way this professor developed, because he was very unsatisfied with the German planning in 1973, I thought, what can we do about improving planning in Germany? And then he looked at everything which we are already doing, like opinion polls, we have elections, we have advisory committees, and all that stuff. All are good for some things and don't work on other aspects. So what he did, he looked at everything which is there, took the good aspects of everything which is being done, and combined it to a new way of doing things. And that he called citizen-reported planning cells. Planning cell is the real part where the planning takes place. It's like only 5 people. And because there are 5, they really can start into discussion. And other aspects was, like, people have to know what they're talking about. Like often in opinion poll, you give your opinion, but you don't know what you're talking about finally. Also in election, you will elect parties, but you don't really know what they are doing afterwards, or what they are talking. Even politicians normally don't really know what they're deciding about. So he put something together, and important, he takes, like, we have to put all of our society together into that basket. But we cannot do it with 80 or 6.5 or now 7 point something billion people. We cannot. So by random choice, you make a small group out of the big one. And the small group is 200 normally. And that is now, because it's random choice, every type of people who find in society somehow will be in that group. And then they need to know what they are talking about. So there will be experts informing them what the details are, the technical details of what they are talking. And because it's, they are new to this, the subject is broken down into small, small pieces. Like there's a famous science TV show like Centimeter Mouse in Germany, and they also give to normal people information about technical things. So similarly, this is done in these groups. Then they are coming together for 4 days, not all 200, but again, small groups, 25, which work parallel. And now the important thing in these groups of 25, you are broken down into groups of 5 by random choice again. So over the 4 days, again, you will be talking everybody can talk to everybody else and gets influenced by what this other person is. And these discussions are very intensive. I've been in many of these, I read about many of these, and they're really intensive, and people talk eye to eye, because suddenly there are the people who need to decide what is going to happen. And they talk as that. They don't talk as a lawyer, they don't talk as a housewife or houseman, they talk as citizen who is responsible. And suddenly they become responsible. And what they are coming up with is something which is actually reflecting common sense, which we wish should be in every decision, and they focus on the common good. Suddenly the ego is put back and the whole thing is looked at. And this is only not because you put different people there, it's only because you put them in a different way together. Now in these groups, they have to come up with statements. The discussion is like 30 minutes, 40 minutes. They come up with statements, but like 5 people are in the group, they're only allowed to give you 3 statements. So they have to agree already, like a pre-selection. And they are changing their opinions because suddenly they see why the other person is so strongly behind something. They start to understand each other. And that's why they really are able to come up with like three statements, agree on that, and then these statements they are putting together, it's put on the wall, and then each and everybody gets 5 points, looking at all the statements, and then they can give you their preferences. So at the end of this process, you have a thoroughly discussed statements, and you find from 25 people the preferences to what they can agree. And this is then done in parallel in all groups of 25, and it is synthesized into one document, and that is called the citizen report. And now you just have to look what is the preferences in this report, and you have to shape your political decisions according to that line. And because this is not being done at the moment, and for 10 years I'm preaching this to parties and to so many people, and they say you have to form a party who is especially doing this. So I decided finally, now I have to start this party. I will be starting it in Germany, so that by the next general elections in 4 years, people will be actually able to vote for wise decisions. They don't know what the decision will be, but it will be wise for the common good. And then we can have a real change of how things are working. Thank you very much.